is going to be in these positions. And so kind of we are putting in the front four, but also the kind of Sam kind of edge hybrid position as well, the TJ Guy position, as we're gonna be talking about. So all 5 of those will be mentioned for the starting line and the backup.
Right. So, I mean, to start off, John, we got our Sam slash, it's, really they play field and boundary, and this is your TJ Guy role. This is kind of the hybrid when the defense wants a different look. They'll throw TJ Guy out there to be opposite of Derek Moore, who's going to be your rush edge, who's your field end. And then, with Michigan, you have your Cameron Brandt. This is kind of your 4-tech hybrid, kind of, where they'll throw him in there, kind of like a Chris Jenkins role. This is your Cameron Brandt, who started to show at the end of the year. We anticipate that Cameron Brandt will be the starting close end for this defense next year. Then we had our nose tackle, our 0-tech position. I currently have Trey Pierce, who's going to be the starting nose tackle for Michigan. We also saw him start to come on, especially the Alabama game. And then big Rayshawn Benny, who I am anticipating, and I think we would all agree this isn't unique for me, a big year. He's been ready. He's been performing at an elite level. Pro Football Focus has him as already one of the top defensive tackles. Rayshawn Benny is going to be replacing Mason Graham in that 3-tech role, disrupting, pushing the pocket, getting pressure on the quarterback and stopping the run. This is your starting defensive line. It's a very, I would say, high ceiling defensive line, but there is some questions, right? So is TJ Guy ready for this role, John, to be in that guy? Is Trey Pierce ready to fill the Kenneth Grant shoes? Now, will he be Kenneth Grant? Probably not. But can he perform at a high level and do his job so this defense can perform as it's designed? Because the 0-tech position in this defense is actually very critical, because you have to be able to push the quarterback. You have to be able to apply pressure up the middle. And that's, we utilize our defensive tackles very aggressively with this defense. So this way we can get the quarterback uncomfortable and shut these offenses down. So Derek Moore, I will say lastly, John, I'll let you hit it. I do think Derek Moore is in for a big year. We got Derek Moore to come back, a little NIL didn't hurt that. And this is Derek Moore's season to really make a name for himself and move up the draft boards.
For sure. Yeah, Derek Moore is the no-duh. If there's a no-duh obvious, I mean, he's got to be one of them, right? 2-time All-Big Ten selection, appeared in 40 games along with 11 starts. So some real experience coming in here. Had a career 5 tackles, career high against Rutgers in 23, but also solo tackles. We've seen him sack, obviously a great sack against Michigan State. I always like when they stick it to Michigan State. But it's not just Derek Moore. Another one here, obviously Rayshawn Benny has been in 42 games with 4 starts, 3-time Letterman. And so wherever you go on this, they've seen some playing time, right? TJ Guy, 36 games with 2 starts, right? Cameron Brandt, right? This is another player, 27 games. So with this said, I mean, while some of them don't have a ton of starts under their belt, they do have a lot of appearances, and every single one of them has multiple really notable career highs on this starting D-line, even if they didn't start last year, TJ.
Well, and that's the thing too, John. So what you're really saying here is we have a defensive line with a lot of experience, because this defensive line has played in playoff games, has played in national championship games, has played in Big Ten championship games, has played in the game, right? These guys are already battle tested. We have actually a pretty experienced group here, which is exciting about it. And not only is this group experienced, John, they all have flashed a lot of potential last season. We have seen TJ Guy shine when he started getting more snaps. We saw him starting to produce and wrecking havoc on Alabama and the Ohio States. We saw Trey Pierce start to break through and shine. We know what Rayshawn Benny is. Cameron Brandt also started to step up and really create some plays. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. And let's remember, this defensive line is led by Lou Esposito, one of the best developmental defensive line coaches in college football. I mean, he has a track record of putting guys in the NFL, even from smaller schools. So, I mean, I'm pretty excited about this group. There is some prove it. They do need to prove it, because it is a group that has not had a lot of starting experience, but there is a lot of talent here, and we should still be a damn good defensive line that wrecks a lot of havoc for these offenses next season.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I'm very excited about this group, and I trust Wink Martindale. I trust the coaching staff to put the right people here in the right positions. And so, some of these backups even have had some notable moments in games, like obviously in the Sam position in our backup slot is Tyler McLaurin, and
Yeah.
while there wasn't. I mean, he appeared in 13 games his senior year, but he was actually he has been kind of in there, including 11 on special teams. I'm very excited about Etta getting a little bit more play. He had a really great game against Northwestern, right? With respect to tackles, half of a sack, tackle for loss. So some of these players, look, they're not going as Wink. What Wink does is he does rotate some of these players in. So you are going to see, maybe not on snap one of game one, but you are going to see these players at various points and various concepts throughout the games.
Absolutely. And that's very critical for our defense. You have to keep this defensive line fresh. We like to rotate. And it does appear we have a nice 8 to 9, possibly 10-man rotation. I do feel more confident in the 8 to 9 range. But yeah, I do think Tyler McLaurin, it's his time to shine. He was also a part of that Brian John Marie recruiting class with Junior Colson. It's now his time to step up. He was a nice prospect coming out of Illinois. Enow Etta, the former top 100 player out of Texas. It's his time to shine. We saw last year him starting to make those strides. I do believe next year is his year to be a difference maker. Damon Payne, the former 5-star out of Belleville, Michigan, who went to Alabama, transferred from Alabama, now coming to Michigan for a prominent role. I have him at the nose tackle position because I do believe he can add a good 10 to 15 pounds this offseason. And I think Michigan's going to utilize him there because there is a need. Trey Williams, believe it or not, there's a lot of excitement out of Michigan for Trey Williams, who came from Clemson. This is another transfer target because Michigan focused very heavily on the trenches through the transfer portal. And I do think Trey Williams is going to get a lot of run here. I'm anticipating Trey Williams to be a prominent rotational piece. And then lastly, but not least, Dominic Nichols, who was an extremely intriguing prospect coming out of high school. It is now his time to shine. Now, I will say this, it's potentially possible, John, which we don't have here, another player making noise this spring ball or this summer, summer camp into fall camp, a player we're not naming yet. Like, could it be a Devin Baxter? Is Nate Marshall already ready to see some run as a freshman, right? Is Manuel Beagle ready to step up? Ike Awana. Like, there's tons of names here. Keyshawn Bennett. I know Juju's gonna love that. He's not a very big fan of Keyshawn Bennett, but like, even so, there's a lot of players here who have the opportunity to take a job because there's opportunity with all of the turnover we had from this year. So yeah, it's a interesting position group that does have depth and should be dominant for another year.
Yeah. Nate Marshall, not on my starters or backups right now, but if I had to think of a player that could easily rise up to at the very least the backup slot, it would be like a Nate Marshall type, right? Who is coming in obviously very highly regarded, and there was some worry he may not be part of Michigan's kind of in the end, and there's some whispers there. Very exciting that he obviously decided to land back at Michigan, and he's a great talent that I think could easily do that.
Yeah,
TJ.
so I agree, John. So I don't have Nate Marshall in the 2D, but I'm going to tell you, I feel confident that somebody we're not naming is going to emerge and make the 2 deep. Who is that going to be? We'll find out. Spring ball, we should get some good rumblings. I believe, when does spring practice start? I think I saw it was like March 18th or something, or March 20th.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
March 18th, 19th, or 20th is when I think I saw the date. So, intel will be coming in soon. I mean, it's literally going to be March next week. So football is upon us, boys.
Yeah, Tuesday, March 18th.
There we go. So it was the 18th. All right, good deal.
Yep. Yep, you got it. All right, folks. Well, that's another episode in the books.